Laura Mitchell had built a life of grit and quiet sacrifice in Queens, New York. A nurse who worked punishing double shifts, she'd raised her son Ethan alone since his father's death when he was 5. Every skipped meal, every overtime hour, every dollar tucked away was for Ethan, a promise to give him the future she never had. When Ethan, now 28 and a rising financial analyst in Midtown, announced his engagement to Sophie Carter, a polished influencer with a curated Instagram life, Laura saw it as her final gift to him. She took out a $50,000 loan, drained her savings, and threw herself into planning their dream wedding. The Manhattan ballroom with its crystal chandeliers, the delicate peonies from a Brooklyn florist, the farm-to-table menu from a Long Island City caterer, the candid shots promised by a Queens photographer, every contract bore Laura's signature, every detail her devotion. She envisioned a day of love and celebration, a testament to the years she'd poured into Ethan. For months, Laura juggled vendors and budgets while Ethan and Sophie sent endless demands via text and Pinterest boards. More roses, vintage champagne, upgraded linens, a string quartet instead of a band. Laura nodded, adjusted, and wrote checks, believing her efforts would cement her place in their happiness. She ignored the ache in her shoulders from long hospital shifts, the growing balance on her credit card, the way Sophie's smile never quite reached her eyes when they met. Laura told herself it was worth it. This was for Ethan. The rehearsal dinner at a chic Manhattan loft shattered that illusion. The room glowed with fairy lights, laughter mingling with soft jazz. Laura, in a modest navy dress she'd bought on sale, felt a flicker of pride as she watched guests mingle. Then Sophie's voice cut through the air, sharp and deliberate. "You've caused enough trouble, Laura. You're not welcome here." The words landed like a slap, silencing the room. 50 pairs of eyes turned to Laura, some curious, some smug, others uncomfortably averted. Sophie stood, her manicured finger pointing, her face a mask of rehearsed indignation. Laura's heart pounded as she looked to Ethan, her boy, the one she'd carried through fevers, breakups, and college applications. He stared at the floor, his jaw tight, saying nothing. The silence was louder than Sophie's cruelty. Laura's purse, heavy with the $50,000 cashier's check for the wedding's final payment, seemed to burn in her hands. She swallowed the lump in her throat, refusing to let tears fall. Not here, not in front of Sophie's smirking friends or the relatives shifting in their seats. With every ounce of dignity, she turned and walked out, her heels clicking against the polished wood floor, each step echoing in the stunned quiet. The loft doors closed behind her, muffling the whispers. Outside, Manhattan's skyline glittered across the river, indifferent. In her car, parked on a shadowed street, Laura sat motionless. Anger hardened into resolve. If she wasn't welcome, neither was her money. She'd carried their fairy tale on her back for too long. Back in her small Astoria apartment, the city's hum a constant backdrop, Laura sat at her kitchen table, the wedding binder open before her. Pages of receipts, contracts, and schedules stared back, each tab labeled in her careful handwriting, ballroom, florist, caterer. Every signature was hers, every dollar hers. She flipped through, her chest tightening at the memory of Sophie's complaints. Too many peonies, not enough vegan options. Could the lighting be softer? Ethan had nodded along, never once defending Laura's choices. She'd been their wallet, not their family. At 3 a.m., her hands steady, she began making calls. "This is Laura Mitchell. I'm canceling the Mitchell-Carter wedding." The ballroom manager hesitated, citing fees, but confirmed her right to cancel. The florist sighed but agreed. The caterer, the band, the photographer, each call unraveled the wedding, thread by thread. By dawn, it was gone. Morning brought Ethan pounding on her door, his face flushed with panic. "Mom, what have you done? You've ruined everything." His voice cracked, but Laura stood calm. "You chose her silence over my dignity," she said softly. "Let her pay for her wedding." Ethan's mouth opened, but no words came. For the first time, she closed the door on him, her heart aching but resolute. The calls flooded in. Her sister, Marion, from Staten Island, pleaded, "You're breaking his heart, Laura. Weddings are stressful. Be the bigger person." Laura's voice was even. "Was he heartbroken when Sophie humiliated me in front of 50 people?" Marion stammered, then fell silent. Her ex-husband, Michael, who'd left them for a new life in Boston years ago, called next, his tone sharp. "This isn't about you, Laura. Reinstate the payments. Don't ruin Ethan's future." She gripped the phone. "Where were you when I was thrown out? Where were you for the last 20 years? His anger flared, but she hung up, her pulse steady. Cousins from Albany, an aunt from Rochester, even a childhood friend, all echoed the same refrain, "Don't let pride ruin the wedding." Laura let the calls go to voicemail, their voices blurring into noise. She met her attorney, Caroline Hayes, in her sleek Central Park office, shelves lined with legal texts. Caroline, sharp and unflappable, had handled Laura's refinancing and her mother's estate years ago. Now, Laura poured out the story. Sophie's outburst, Ethan's silence, the binder of contracts, the cancellations. Her voice trembled but held. Caroline leaned back, her expression calm. "Every contract is in your name. Every payment from your account. They have no legal claim." Then she slid a folder across the desk. "But there's something else. Ethan's been pulling from the college fund you set up at Hudson Bank. Last month, $6,000, right after you paid the venue deposit." Laura's stomach dropped. That fund was her safety net for Ethan, untouched for years, or so she'd thought. "Freeze it," she said, her voice low but firm. Caroline nodded, already dialing her paralegal. The war escalated online. Sophie posted a tearful video on Facebook, sitting on a plush couch, tissue in hand. "My future mother-in-law canceled our wedding out of spite," she sobbed, her voice breaking artfully. "She threatened vendors, ruined our day." Comments poured in, "What a toxic woman. Cut her off. Jealous hag." Laura's hands shook, but she saved every post, every comment, sending them to Caroline, who texted back, "Keep documenting. This is defamation." Then Laura opened her credit card statement. A $25,000 charge for a Bali honeymoon, Ethan and Sophie's names on an overwater villa, complete with private butler and yacht excursions. Receipts for Louis Vuitton luggage, spa deposits, and Fifth Avenue shopping sprees followed, all on her card. They hadn't just used her, they'd orchestrated a heist. Laura forwarded the evidence to Caroline, who began building a case. By week's end, the truth broke. Vendors, fed up with Sophie's public smears, leaked that Laura held the contracts. Anonymous posts on wedding forums exposed the Bali charges. The bride spent her mother-in-law's money, then humiliated her. The Manhattan Ballroom announced a new booking for the date. The Brooklyn florist posted photos of peonies for another couple, captioned, "Thrilled for our new clients." Sophie's Instagram, a shrine to filtered perfection, became a battleground. Comments tore her apart. "Pay for your own wedding. Entitled much?" She deleted her account. Ethan's Midtown co-workers whispered. His promotion, once certain, slipped away. A LinkedIn post hinted at his unreliability. "Can't trust a man who lets his mother be disrespected." Sophie's father, Gary, called, his tone a mix of charm and desperation. "Laura, surely we can work this out. Sophie didn't mean it. We've had a rough year, bad investments." Laura cut him off. "She told me to leave. She can fund her own life." She hung up, her hands steady. Ethan's voicemail came that night, cold and cutting. "You're no mother. Sophie was right. You're bitter. No wonder Dad left." The words stung, but Laura deleted the message. Grief gave way to clarity. She'd worked double shifts, skipped vacations, gone hungry for Ethan. His betrayal was his, not hers. Laura booked a retreat in Montauk, trading the city's chaos for the Atlantic's calm. On the wedding day, while Sophie should have walked down the aisle, Laura sat on a balcony, champagne in hand, the ocean stretching endless before her. She posted a photo of the horizon to her small social media circle. "Peace suits me." No names, but Ethan and Sophie would see it. They'd know. New York's wedding circles buzzed. Blogs dubbed Ethan and Sophie a cautionary tale. Don't bite the hand that pays. The Manhattan Ballroom hosted another couple's joy. The florist's peonies bloomed for someone else. Guests who'd booked hotels called Laura, confused, then apologetic as the truth spread. Sophie's friends, once loyal, distanced themselves. Ethan's college buddies posted thinly veiled jabs, always let others clean up his messes. Relatives who'd scolded Laura now sent halting apologies. She let them go unanswered. A week later, Ethan texted, "We messed up. Can we talk?" Laura stared at the words, her thumb hovering over delete. She pressed it. Forgiveness didn't mean stepping back into the fire. In Montauk's salt air, she raised a glass to herself. Decades of bending, working doubles, saying yes, swallowing her own needs, had ended. Being alone wasn't the worst fate. Being used was. Love wasn't sacrifice without respect. Family wasn't who drained you, but who stood by you. The waves rolled on, carrying her old life away. Laura Mitchell, the nurse, the mother, the wallet, was gone. In her place stood a woman who'd learned to say no, and meant it. She walked the Montauk shore, her steps light, her heart her own. The city's gossip faded, but Laura's peace grew. She'd built a life once for Ethan. Now, she'd build one for herself.